Okay, Ellen, you can go.
Greetings, Woo family. Good morning. For those that are joining by Facebook, welcome, welcome into this space. Glad to have you today. Greetings. Welcome, Woo family. Greetings. Grand Rising. Welcome, Woo family. For those that are joining by Zoom, the few and the brave and trepid who want to delve into the topic today, welcome. Good morning, Adam. Good morning.
Good morning, Ellen. How you doing this morning?
Wonderful, thank you.
Good.
Good morning, Woo family.
Good morning, Ellen.
For those that are joining by Zoom, I can't see everyone's name, so feel free to come off camera or just come on your mic and say good morning. Good morning, Sister Martine.
Good morning.
Good morning, Adim. Good morning, Kaisha. I'm trying, I'm squinting. All right, Woo family, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Greetings.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke, it's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving, together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming, together, together.
Ellen.
Unmute, Ellen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ellen Goolsby, and I am here to talk this morning about Bitcoin as part of my Grow Your Worth series. I know a number of people were here last week for my talk on barter trade and alternative currencies. And so Bitcoin is a timely addition to that. And the timing of this workshop has tickled me only because how many people know what's happened to Bitcoin in the last 7-8 days? Free fall. It's crashed quite a bit. So every time I thought I had this talk nailed down, I had to adjust it. Because it crashed another 2,000 and then another 2,000, literally crashed like 10,000. 30,000 to 20,000. So how many people would classify, how would you classify yourself as a complete and total newbie? Never touched Bitcoin, don't know what's going on, don't have any. Never tried to get any. Starting as baby step one. I see Tiffany. Can you raise your electronic hand or come on your camera if that applies to you? How many people have heard the news this week and how did it make you feel? Were you feeling excited? Were you feeling scared, confused? What was the sentiment this week? Bitcoin dominated the headlines.
Good morning, Ellen. This is Kaisha. I'll speak.
Great.
I'm sure you want to see how I look on this. Here we go. Okay. So I've been, I get alerts on my phone because I'm a member of Coinbase. I do not have any Bitcoin, but it's something that I wanted to try to figure out how to get into. But so I get alert on my phones every day throughout the day that Bitcoin is falling drastically. And I see you on the news programs, like maybe the financial part and the national news, whatever news, that they're talking, the commentators are talking about the fall. And so I see that people are reacting to it, but I don't know if people are fearful. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like people has the reaction that the world is coming to an end. It just seems that it was expected to fall, and some investors know that it's going to come back up. So, but again, maybe this is a good time for us savvy, like you said, newbies who don't have anything to get into it now. And then when it comes back up, maybe, we'll be successful as it starts to come up. So, I mean, unless you have anything else, I'm complete.
That's a sharp insight. I personally bought Bitcoin at its height back in 2000, I think it was 2018, 17, 18, and then it crashed. It went from like 19,000 to 3. I just held on to it, left it in my Coinbase account, and a couple years later, I saw it kind of creeping up. And I thought, wow, I should have been buying this the whole time. I'd be rich. So yeah, it brings up a lot of different emotions for people. If you're holding it, you might be freaking out because your portfolio balance has basically been cut in half potentially over the last several months. If you hadn't gotten in when it was low, you might be excited because you're thinking, oh, now I can grab a piece of that, and everything in between. Some people are feeling kind of gleeful, like, I told you so, right? And others know that this is, very typical of Bitcoin. It's crashed many times since it was created, and it's rebounded, and it generally works in a 4-year cycle. So I have a couple of slides that I want to just go right into. Nothing real complex, no complex charts or anything like that. Part of the reason I'm doing the workshop this morning is someone asked me to basically walk through Bitcoin, like in simple terms, so that they could get started in investing in it. Needed to know, like, what's going on with Bitcoin. So it's actually very challenging to boil down something as complex as Bitcoin into a simple presentation. Talk at length about this. Whole books are written about Bitcoin. I tried my best. Bear with me. Let me just first say that I am not a financial investment or tax advisor or professional. This is not financial tax advice. This presentation is for educational purposes only. So, how many people have heard of Satoshi Nakamoto? Creator of Bitcoin. And just to get you involved a little bit in this, I'm going to ask some people to read as we go through some of these slides, but I'll start. My first thing that I have to say with Bitcoin is do your own research, right? There's so much information out there in the form of books, articles, and videos and other people that if you have questions about Bitcoin, like literally the answers are at your fingertips. Part of the issue is that there's so much information that can get really overwhelming. So we'll start at the beginning, and I'm going to read this intro. In October 2008, a person or a group using the name Satoshi Nakamoto announced the cryptography mailing list at metsdow.com, I've been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party. This now famous white paper published on bitcoin.org entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, would become the Magna Carta for how Bitcoin operates today. That's an Investopedia. That's a website that you can go to for all sorts of entry-level and advanced topics around not just Bitcoin, but other assets. So if you weren't aware, you can go find the original white paper, which is essentially just the concept paper that lays out the rules of how this electronic peer-to-peer cash system would work, what we call cryptocurrency. Now, there's many different points of view as to whether you should invest in cryptocurrency or speculate, as some people would say. They go from the extreme of Nicholas Weaver, who's a famous critic, who is in an article in Current Affairs with the title, "All Crypto Should Die in a Fire." And not just any fire, he wants it hurled into the sun. If you're an enthusiast like I am and you read that article, you definitely will start to think. It's a lot of food for thought. He's a little over the top and he's funny. On the other end of the spectrum is the Bitcoin maxi, who believes that Bitcoin is the future. It's the only cryptocurrency and everyone should be in it. And generally, Bitcoin maxis are citing a book called The Bitcoin Standard, the decentralized alternative to central banking. Does anyone have the Bitcoin Standard? Or has anyone read it? Okay, so I have some copies that I'll be giving away later. Bitcoin Standard. And that basically lays out the case. You can go to the next slide. And I'm going to try and whip through these a little quicker so I can take whatever questions that come up. Okay, orange pill theory. So for Bitcoin maxis and other hardcore enthusiasts, there's something called the orange pill theory, which, tracks back to the Matrix, orange pill, blue pill. The idea that everyone should take the orange pill, where they will discover that Bitcoin equals freedom and monetary sovereignty. It's an intellectual game. There is no actual orange pill. So I would like to have Sister Martine maybe come on to camera and come off mute and help me read through why people believe you should invest in Bitcoin. What is it about Bitcoin?
I will read, but I will not come off camera.
Okay, that's totally fine. Just read the first tile, please.
It's scarce. 19/21.5 Bitcoins. Is this what I'm reading?
Yes, that's what you're reading.
I don't know what I'm reading though.
I know, we're going to talk about it.
1 million sats.
100 million sats.
I mean, 100. Oh, sorry. 100 million sats. 2,140.
Okay, great. Thank you. So these are some numbers you should know about Bitcoin if you want to be conversant in the language of cryptocurrency. So part of the reason cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular is in so demand is that it's scarce. For Bitcoins, there's only about 21.5 Bitcoins that will ever be mined. That's how they're brought into existence, right? So far, about 19 million, I should say million, have been mined so far, right? And every day, a new block of Bitcoins I believe it's more like 6.25 blocks of Bitcoins, which is about 900 Bitcoins, is mined every day. So there's only about 2 million more that can be mined. And Bitcoins are divisible into units called Satoshis, and each one has 100 million Satoshis. So, you know, part of the argument is you might want to get into Bitcoin while you can still buy big chunks of it before you have to basically buy Satoshis, which would be a tiny fraction because they will all be bought up and basically people, regular folks will only be able to get access to Satoshis. So if you've ever bought Bitcoin on Cash App, you'll see that they show you that your $100 got you 100,000. And then 2140 is the year that it's estimated that the last Bitcoin will be mined. And this is why a lot of people do look at it as an opportunity for generational wealth, because obviously it's really not going to reach its full potential until, you know, after our lifetimes. But it's something that we could do now to set a foundation. Thank you, Sister Martine. Who wants to join me in the space and walk through this second tile about Bitcoin greatness?
Yeah, we're looking for a hand to come up. Anybody who wants to share?
I'll read. I can read.
Thank you, Aaliyah.
It can store your monetary wealth. It can be used to pay people securely. It can be exchanged globally for goods and services.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's pretty self-explanatory, right? So a lot of people have equated Bitcoin to gold, which is referred to as a, you know, a store of wealth. Of course, Bitcoin is kind of awkward as a payment system. A lot of other cryptocurrencies have, the altcoins have come into being to be faster, more agile, less energy intensive forms of payment, but you certainly can go to different stores and online and buy all kinds of things with Bitcoin. And then it can be exchanged globally. You actually don't even need Wi-Fi. Anyone with SMS and a phone, which I think there's more phones per person than even toothbrushes on the planet, I read that crazy statistic, can send crypto to another person. So its potential is interesting in terms of, you know, you could send it to someone on the other side of the world. And it'll probably take a long time because it's a little slow, but nonetheless. So here's the third tile of reasons that Bitcoin, you know, equals freedom and monetary sovereignty. Who's going to join me?
Yeah, I could read.
Great. Who's this?
It's Marie.
Hi, Marie.
It can and will appreciate in value over time. Yay. It is decentralized so that no government or individual bank is in control.
Thank you. All right. Uh-oh, I think we lost it. Did we lose it? Okay, so I don't see the slides myself. Does everyone see the slides? But I know what they say because it's very simple. They will increase in value over time. That is a function of supply and demand. As we've already said, there's very limited supply. And even of the 21, a huge chunk of them, a huge chunk of Bitcoins have been mined and then lost, right? So obviously it could go up over time. And one of the big issues I think that people have been experiencing over the last couple of years is now that all the big institutional investors have gotten involved, there's all these predictions that it's going to be worth 100,000, 200,000, 338,000. They don't know. We don't know. We just know that it will increase over time. Even if it dumps all the way down to a couple $1,000s, there's always going to be people who are holding on to that puddle for dear life, and it would likely stage a comeback. So it might not be this year or next year, right? But there are a lot of people out there on the internet, on YouTube, with lots of predictions using lots of charts, and you can kind of track how far down it's predicted to go using some technical analysis of what it's done in the past and what it's doing, in terms of like its averages over long periods of time and the 4-year cycles that have been observed since it's been created. And then the final point is that it's decentralized, so no government or individual bank is in control. When Bitcoin was created, the white paper was written, the first Bitcoins were mined, I believe by Ita. Then the creator disappeared and left Bitcoin to the world. And because it's decentralized, it's basically in the hands of you and I and the miners and everyone that participates in the network. So it really can't be banned. Governments can try and ban it, but that's going to be like a whack-a-mole game because it's global and it's decentralized. And so the benefit of that is you are your own banker. There is no middleman. So someone asked me about a particular investment in crypto that involves sending their money to somebody else to invest. That kind of defeats the purpose of cryptocurrency. So another reason to get involved with Bitcoin, if you're interested, is to build your own capacity to even be in the space, your fluency in the language of cryptocurrency, your ability to navigate what's called the cryptoverse. Next slide.
Okay. Ellen, before we move to the next slide, there's a question there's 2 questions in the chat. What exactly is mining, or how do you mine Bitcoin?
Okay, so there are individuals who will invest in computers that are miners. They are miners and they have mining machines. Let's put it that way. These are pretty expensive computers. In the past, individuals could do it, but now, it's grown up so big that there's whole warehouses where companies have mining enterprises. It uses up a lot of energy. Mining Bitcoin and Bitcoin transactions, that's one of the biggest objections is, it uses the energy of like a small country. It's pretty technical and complicated, so I won't delve too much into like the mechanics of the mining, nor do I know much about the mechanics of the mining. What's this next question?
Okay, those were the 2 questions. One was how do you mine, or what is mining? So there were 2 questions around the word mining. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you could spend like a couple $1,000s, maybe let's say 7,000 on a mining rig, and it's very hard to generate, much activity as an individual mining, but people do it. And of course, you can mine other cryptocurrencies, and you can also join like cloud-based mining pools and companies that let you like buy a share of the mining enterprise. But that's a good question.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next slide is up and we're ready to go.
Awesome. So I'm just going to whip through these a little bit. I did say this workshop would be, suitable for you if you're a more conservative investor. A lot of people don't even know what their investor personality is, but some people know. They hate to lose money, any money. So if you're averse to risk, but you still want to get into this game, you could do a couple of things. There's many more strategies besides the ones that are listed here, but you could earn or win free crypto. That way you're beginning with money or cryptocurrency that you didn't spend any of your fiat, i.e. American dollars or any government issued dollar to obtain, right? That's one way to be reducing your risk. Another way is to dollar cost average, which is that strategy where you say, I'm going to spend $10 a week, every week. I'm going to set it and forget it in one of the platforms. And it's just going to buy no matter whether Bitcoin is the price that it is today, which is currently $20,650, or you know, some future price next week, it could be 23,000. And the week after, it could be 17,799. We don't know. And the hope is that over time, you're going to come out ahead on your return on investment. There's also scaling. Scaling is when you don't necessarily automate it like that, but you can by doing like ladders where you say, oh, Bitcoin at 20,000, I want $200 worth, but if it drops to 19, I want $400 worth. If it drops again, I'll take another, 200. You just set up this ladder of purchases that you want to make, and you scale in over time again. So you minimize the risk that you buy in all at once at what could be maybe the top or near the top, because it's very hard to time the market. And then another approach that a more conservative investor might take is to set stop loss orders. And that's when you set it up so that if you purchase Bitcoin at 20, but it falls to 15, you say, I don't like anything below that. So when it hits 15, sell my position and give me my money so that you don't have to go through the roller coaster. Of course, a lot of Bitcoin enthusiasts will say hodl and hold on to it through the ride. The stop loss is a little bit tricky because you don't always want to get stopped out, because if you follow Bitcoin, you'll see sometimes it will fall, but the fall will be for moments, for minutes, for hours, and then it will bounce off of whatever, a certain target price is and go back up. And then, of course, if you're not really gung-ho about, the risk involved in investing in cryptocurrencies, conservative approach would be like you only put 3% of your whole investment portfolio, including like your 401k, your stock. Oh, I have 10,000 invested. You're only going to use 3%. That's such a tiny amount, right? The idea is that the return on investment will be relatively outsized. So so investing gurus, if you will, say that investing 3% will have outsized positive return on your whole portfolio. Of course, the opposite could be true, right? You have an outsized negative return, but it's never going to go negative. So next slide. And I'll take any questions that pop up, feel free. If you're feeling a little bit like taking more of a risk, and you believe that taking more of a risk would get you that greater return on investment, or you just want to play more in the space, here are some things that you might do. And here are also, I would say, things that are riskier that you might not want to do. So just take it in the context here. It is riskier to invest money that you might need soon, and soon would mean this year or next year. Remember the story of my Bitcoin purchase at 19,000 back in 2018? I didn't need that money. It was a fraction. It wasn't a whole Bitcoin. So I just let it coast for a couple of years, for 2 years, until it came back to its original purchase price after going underwater, like severely underwater by, I don't know, 90% or something like that. So, but some people do invest money that they might need soon, generally not in a bear market, which is what we're in. The bear market is when the whole crypto market drops 20% or more. Sometimes in a rising market, people get really exuberant and they might put a lot more money in it because they might see a 10, 20, 30% return on their money in a short period of time. So they're willing to take that risk, the short period of time being a day, a week, a month, 2 months, right? Also riskier is leaving your money on these. It says decentralized, but it should say centralized. My bad, there's an error on my slide here. Centralized exchanges are like the ones where you have to show your ID, like Coinbase and Gemini. You show that ID because you are going to get a tax statement at the end of the year. or Uncle Sam, right? However, in a market like this, a bear market where things are crashing left and right, some of those exchanges could lock up your money. If you were involved, if you held any Luna a few weeks ago, Luna is basically frozen on several exchanges, Luna and Wrapped Luna. Those are two smaller cryptos, but not insignificant at all. And part of what's like kind of making this instability even worse right now. So if you leave your crypto sitting on an exchange could get hacked. You could get hacked. And exchanges sometimes fail. And then other risky strategies for investing in Bitcoin involve day trading, where you try and get in and out of position in a single day, swing trading, where you might do it over several days, and then dipping into altcoins, which are altcoins that are not Bitcoin, and microcurrencies, which are the ones that are, let's say, less than $1. They might be a fraction of a penny, in fact. I have several million of a coin that's literally got 0.40, 5. I can't even say what that fraction is. And the hope is that goes up and, you have an outsized return one day. Also airdrops, when you're playing in decentralized finance, you might get some airdrops. That could be a little riskier because you owe tax on that as if it's realized income. And then FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, I'm just going to get in because Bitcoin's rising, crypto's rising. You're not even paying attention to what's happening. You just don't want to miss the momentum. And there's also aping in. You have a big amount of money and you're just like, I'm dropping 19 on crypto right now on Bitcoin. The biggest risk is not doing your own research. I'm going to wrap it up with a final slide that you could take a picture of. Next slide. And it's just the list of resources. So this is obviously not set in any stone. You could be an experienced Bitcoin investor and not have TradingView, and you could be new to crypto investing and Bitcoin investing and already have a MetaMask account. So I can't go into great depth about these, but I can take questions, and let me know if anyone has dropped any questions or has any that you want to ask now about how and why to invest in Bitcoin.
Okay, so yes, there is the question from Maria or Valencia rather, sorry. Any crypto is good and like Litecoin?
Is the question, is any crypto good?
Yes.
No, there are thousands of cryptos. This is my opinion. It's not financial advice, but some of those cryptos are, like, I could create a crypto. You could create a crypto. That's the whole point. It's like invented money. So generally speaking, you want to look at the market cap, right? The market cap is like the whole value of the coin. And you want to look at a couple of other measures, like how many coins are in circulation and what's the volume of the trading, right? So there are multiple measures to look at. You just shouldn't necessarily just grab some random coin. If you're brand new, you could start, let's say you want to start in the top 10 coins, top 20 coins. You could look at coins that are in the top 200 coins, and then you're getting riskier and riskier, right? Because those are smaller and smaller projects. And you also want to look at, like, who's the team behind that? Some people don't even look at the team. You just look at the numbers, market cap, total coins, coins in circulation, trading volume. Which direction is it going? There's a lot of tools you can use. And Litecoin has been doing really, really well. I believe Litecoin is a coin that does well during bear markets. And I don't know entirely the reason behind it, but I have noticed that too. Has something to do with, it was one of the earliest coins. So I noticed that some of the OG coins tend to do well when Bitcoin is going down. I hope that has answered your question.
I believe it does. She says, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Were there any other questions for Ellen pertaining to Martine's hand is up? Come on in, Martine.
Okay, so I don't see a lot of questions in the chat. I don't know if I'm speaking for people. I need for y'all to tell me in the chat. Is anybody still as lost as I am? I just don't get it. But one thing that you said that I know that, I mean, I'm so lost that I can't even ask questions. But one thing I want to know is, and you may have said this, forgive me, but now that it's like, what does that mean that it crashed? Is it the same as like the stock market? Because I know that one thing that I've heard within the last month, people say loosely, is that your money should be in crypto instead of your savings account. So if I had my savings account in crypto and it crashed, as you're saying now, am I just like, it's okay because it would have been a savings anyway? I'm not supposed to be touching it. It's going to eventually go up. And also, is now a good time to buy crypto because it crashed? So does that mean that the buy-in is lower? I'm lost.
Right. So when I say crash, yes, it's lost its value. As I said at the beginning of the workshop or chat, it was about 30,000 when I started preparing for this presentation about 9 days ago, and now it's 20,000. It was 20,650 when we referenced it earlier. It could have moved by now. So is that clear? The crash is a drop. It doesn't mean that it's permanent, but it also doesn't mean that it's over, right? So because Bitcoin goes in 4-year cycles, some of the pundits or gurus out there are like, okay, this is the expected thing, and Bitcoin has to go into like a deep bear cycle for a period of time so that the new bull market, which is when it's rising, can be born, right? So, and I would recommend for anyone that feels like, oh, I still don't understand, look, I put in many hours, even this week, learned so much about Bitcoin. This book, The Bitcoin Standard, it's a big book. However, you really want to know, it's like any other topic, right? It's like buying a house. Would you read up on buying a house before you bought a house? You would. If home values go down and the house you live in is undervalued, would you sell it? You might hold on to see if it goes back up, right? So it's definitely something to devote some time, because it is a tough topic to master. And like I said, even I learned so much about Bitcoin in the past week or so preparing for this presentation. One resource I could give you that might help is 99 Bitcoins. If you sign up for this, it's an email, like it's a series of emails that will be sent to you one a day to teach you the most basic components of what is Bitcoin. Right? So I could do a whole workshop on what is Bitcoin. And so I'm curious, how many people feel like they don't know what Bitcoin is?
We could put a show of hands if anyone is still confused on Bitcoin. And there was another question in the chat. Cheryl says, I'm not sure if I missed this answer, although wondering what is meant by gas fees and how does, I'm not sure even how to pronounce this word,
Ethereum.
Ethereum correlate. Thank you.
So yeah, to do the transaction, there's always like a buying, selling, or sending your crypto to, let's say, a wallet. like MetaMask, for instance, there's always going to be like a small transactional fee, and this is called gas, and it's typically paid in ETH. And that has affected like the price of ETH a lot of times. Or like whether ETH is so attractive, like, oh, it's so expensive to send something, costs so much ETH. So a lot of times if you're sending something to your own wallet, you will wait to a certain time of day, and the gas fees can be lower at a certain time of day. But it's a fairly small fraction depending on what you're doing. Does that make sense? It's like a user fee, a transactional fee. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then there was a question from Aaliyah. May someone post the recommended site in the chat?
99 Bitcoins.
That is the website, 99 Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll send, like you sign up for it, they'll send you an email every day. Read the emails. Also recommend Investopedia.
For 99, is it just the numbers 99, or is it spelled out 99 Bitcoins? Okay.
And I understand Sister Martine's point, like you really just have to try different things that mesh with your learning style to see what's going to make it click. And sometimes you have to look at it from different angles to be like, oh, you know, you might not get it right away. I personally like to buy an asset in order to learn about it. Because I find like if I have spent $100 on, let's say Solana, that's going to make me watch Solana. That's another cryptocurrency. It's going to make me like perk up to news about Solana and read about Solana. And, you know, I equate it to like owning a gold necklace. You know what gold is, but when you wear a gold necklace and you get to touch it and see its luster, and you get to understand its properties more. So I like to buy into the knowledge because I believe, you know, to hold it is to know it. Yeah. Not advice.
Yes, so you have answered the questions that were in the chat. The links for both 99 Bitcoins and Investopedia have been dropped. Thank you very much, Teresa, for sharing that. So everyone can click those links so that you can have them in your background, or you can screenshot them so that you can use them later on. Thank you, Ellen.
Sure.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready for the next movement.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay, so some of you were on the call last week. This is a group that I've done in the past. I'm doing again. I've done it off and on for a couple of decades, actually. And, you know, my whole interest in cryptocurrency is really about inventing money and wealth through alternative currencies. And so last week we talked a bit about how to do that through barter and trade to generate some economic activity within the community. And so if you're interested in being a part of this pop-up economy and business incubator, it's happening July 1st through September 17th. It's going to be a skill share. We'll do swaps, and I'll do regular crypto workshops. And that's the only way to really work with me around cryptocurrency. I used to run groups last year and host speakers and things like that. So I know that there's a lot of interest in that. And if you want to continue learning about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, definitely consider joining the Trade Beats summer. And for Woo, anyone in Woo, it's 50% off. So $150 for it's basically a 10-week program. Featuring calls and live events, and a Facebook group in which you can post things that you have to offer and things that you need. And anyone that does want to do a one-on-one crypto session, I will, for the first 5 people that get in touch with me, I will do a 30-minute crypto ask me anything. It could be hands-on where you're on the computer and I'm on the computer looking at your screen, or answering whatever question that you have. Yes, that is. Here's my contact information. My phone number is 347-760-8977. My Instagram is Ellen's Jewelry. Ellen's Jewelry consists of a whole lot of cowries. And my email is ellengoolsby@gmail.com. Get in touch, get in touch. Love offerings and donations. So wow, I never knew how much went into producing these Woo workshops. It's a lot. So I hope you're getting so much value, not only from this workshop, but from all the workshops all month long. And show your love and support by doing the love offering that is automated, $25 a month, $50 a month, $75 a month, $100 or even more. Much appreciated. Coming up on Tuesday, June 21st, Jennifer Turpo will be doing a workshop on beauty equity. And on Wednesday, June 22nd, History and Capoeira, facilitated by Mtambuzi and Wango.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ellen. I will take over from
Thank
here.
you.
Time to hydrate and breathe.
Thank you.
Here we go. Welcome, Woo Nation. Welcome, new Woo members. Today is your first time joining us in session. Please let us know by dropping it in the chat. We want to recognize you and welcome you to a community where we come to learn, elevate, and ascend. This is our Wake Up Everybody virtual schedule. We're live on Zoom and Facebook 5 days a week, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., and Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. If you would like a notification when it's time to join us on one of these platforms, please text the word Woo Nation in cap locks to 74121. As I always say, it's always gift giving season, and Woo Swag makes perfect gifts. So please shop us at bit.ly/Woo Swag. Thank you. And here's how you stay in touch with us. Register weekly at bit.ly/Wake Up Movement. Join us on Facebook at bit.ly/Woo Community. That is our private group. Or you can visit us on our public page, which is bit.ly/Woo Nation. Follow us on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. Catch clips on YouTube at bit.ly/Woo on YouTube. And last and certainly not least, you can always email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. We are always looking for more facilitators, admins to keep this program up and going. At this time, all participants who are in space are encouraged to come off of mute and give a verbal love shower to Ellen for explaining crypto and Bitcoin to us and her special offer. Thank you so much, Ellen. I appreciate you. Come on, everybody, come off of mute.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
This
Ellen,
was
for the
great.
great
Thank you so
presentation.
much for the
Peace and
information
blessings.
and
Family.
expertise that you
Thank you.
provided.
Thank
It was
you.
so insightful, and I really appreciate
Same
all of
Thank
here.
that.
you.
And I
And
really
thank you,
look
Google
forward to
community.
connecting with you. And I appreciate your time this morning.
Yes, thank you.
Everyone have a wonderful day.
Let's move forward, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Sister Ellen. Thank you.